stunning drive coming in this morning.
Sam and Darren have been down in London now since Monday.
I've woken up this morning feeling rough as hell.
And it was just completely out of focus, so annoying. The guide that I'm now following is also pretty damn useless.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of my vlog. This week is going to be a very admin heavy week, but in good news, the chaps are currently down in London working on a really cool sort of live green screen environment type set that you saw us setting up at the back end of last week's episode. I spent a lot of time over the weekend kind of running the numbers, and I've been doing it a lot recently, spending time on the weekend planning and going through a lot of the sort of back end of things and really looking at last year and trying to just learn as much as I can. And I spent a lot of time this weekend looking at the more financial side of things, like the cash flow of last year and the profit and loss and all those extremely fun things. One of the things I took away from it, which I think is actually brilliant and something that I would recommend anyone else doing for your personal life or business life, and that's really reviewing your costs and the things that you can reduce. And that doesn't mean necessarily cutting things, or do you know what I mean, like getting rid of anything, but what it can instead, it can mean literally living your exact same life as you are now, but taking those costs and reducing them. So I'll put it into an example. The most classic example would be something like a software subscription. For us, let's say it's ClickUp, which is our project management software. We, until this day, have always paid for things like that on a monthly basis. That's great because in the early days, especially for cash flow, that's useful because you don't have the upfront cash to just go, right, here's a full annual subscription. But naturally, with most of these sort of services, the annual fee is usually considerably less than the monthly fee, like 30% less, sometimes more, sometimes less. But by doing that, in the end, your profit left at the end of the year will be X £100 more. I went through, did a big old exercise of just what do we actually need and use and what can be on an annual subscription. From doing this, I have looked at it and I've now come up with my plan for probably what will be the next couple of months to transition as many things as possible into either annual subscriptions, or with the vehicles, we are actually going to be making a couple of changes where we swap them like for like with other things that have considerably cheaper monthly running costs, as well as finance costs, as well as insurance costs, but our quality of life does not change. Our service to our clients does not change. The only thing that changes is we'll have more left in the pot at the end of the year. And when I say more, I mean, when I've done all of this, I'm talking thousands. For example, our Mitsubishi, which is our crew car, when we first got it, was a great deal, but the interest rates were just a bit stupid at that point in time, and I've realized that I can swap it for another car with a boot that is exactly the same size, which is obviously important for us, can still sit 5 people, gets better miles to the gallon, has less road tax, all for about £130 less per month on the finance. That's nuts. Like, when you think about it, over the years, we're going to save thousands. It's just a no-brainer, essentially. And the car, I mean, yeah, this is one of the main benefits, that the new car that will be replacing it actually has like 30,000 less miles on it, which is just, it's great. I didn't just do it for the business, I did it for my personal life too. I sort of looked at things like the insurance policy on my car, that's my personal car, all of the subscriptions that I was paying for, like I had Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime Video, YouTube Premium, like all of those together is probably like £50 a month. It's crazy. And then when you think about it, it's like, well, how often do you actually use them? I don't really use Disney Plus, so cancel that. Way more money in the pocket. It's a really good exercise to do, and I think it is good to do it regularly, at least annually, because it is so easy to subscribe to multiple things throughout a year and then forget that they're going out every month. I thoroughly recommend that. That was a really good activity. Over the next couple of months, we'll be transitioning as many things as we can. Obviously, we can't do it all at once, because if I now go and do monthly subscriptions on everything, annual subscriptions on everything, we're gonna need a lot of upfront cash. So it will be something I do over time, but inevitably it will mean that going forward in the future, we'll be spending less, and year after year, we will reduce our costs and have more profit left over, which is a good thing in the current market, because the current market is and still will be quieter than it has been in previous years. So it's good to control what you can. Ultimately, you only have so much control over the work coming in, but you definitely have a good amount of control over the money going out. So yeah, that's my little bit of coffee wisdom to kick off the day.
Me and Ben are down in the studio planning a really cool project that we've got coming up. We needed to get all of the measurements of the walls and the ceiling height because Ben's going to be creating a 3D model to represent something that we're going to be building very soon. Stay tuned.
It's Wednesday, and I think I'm getting ill, which is not great. I think that's probably the price you pay for going to a concert and just being surrounded by people. But yeah, I woke up this morning, throat's a little bit sore, there's a little bit of a cough. Yeah, this sucks. I hate getting ill. I mean, I don't know anyone that likes getting ill, but you know. I'm just hoping it doesn't have too much of an impact on work. Normally when I'm ill, I like to work from home, just so I don't give it to the rest of the team, because ultimately if they then get ill and then they can't work, that's gonna impact projects and stuff like that. But this week is really awkward and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate it. I've got a meeting today, but it's just a Zoom meeting, so that's easy. Tomorrow I've got 3 Zoom meetings and an in-person meeting, and it's the in-person meeting that I'm most sort of like about. Depends how bad I am. Right now I'm fine-ish. Like I can just feel it. I just know there's something there. And then Friday I had a big intention to do a bunch of kit stuff. We're going to finish off the stickering and labeling, which I know I've been talking about on this channel now for literally months, and I feel like a broken record. But I keep saying we're going to finish it, and we never do. But we're going to put another dent in it. That's actually Sam doing that. My job, whilst I was going to be joining him, is to sort out those new prime lenses that we bought. If you remember in last week's episode, we realised that we need to shim them, which is adding like literally tiny pieces of metal to the back of the lens where the lens mount is, in order to space the lens from the sensor. So my plan was to do that, and then also organise our new Pelican cases, because obviously we've received them, we've got all the new kit, but I now want to like distribute that amongst the cases and be like, right, this is kit A, kit B, slow-mo kit, whatever it is, so then we're all set, because we've got a very busy set of weeks approaching and a lot of filming time, and I want to make sure that all of that is done and dusted so that we're not scrambling to, you know, fit things in cases and chuck this in this thing here because it fits and it's just like good enough for now. I just want to get it done. Fingers crossed I can still do it, because I really want to do it, but I'm aware of just like not trying to spread this illness around the team, especially, as I say, some very busy weeks approaching, which is amazing. February is going to be brilliant and full of action for you guys. As I mentioned in last week's video, we have got a rather large short film project that we are going to be doing a full behind the scenes documentary on. So you will see bits of it in this vlog. Anyway, getting into today. Today I am going to be kind of finishing off most of the website for our new business. If you've been keeping up with the vlogs for the sort of start of this year, you'll know that we are starting a new business on the side of Menace Media. Until now, we have essentially built the website and a lot of the back end of it, but my job is to go in and fill out all of the copy and some of the imagery and stuff like that, but mostly the copy. It's just me writing, basically. So that I'm hoping to make a huge dent, if not the full dent, today, because it'd be really good to get that done. And then that's it for today. Literally, I've just blocked my day for that. And then obviously the guys, Sam and Darren, have been down in London now since Monday, working on a really cool sort of green screen, live stream, studio type of job. I said in last week's episode, we don't do those jobs very often anymore. They were very popular during the pandemic, but they've definitely slowed down a little bit now. But this customer in particular has offices all over the world. And obviously to do a live stream is a far more cost efficient way of doing something like this, as opposed to an in-person event where you have to fly everybody to one location. So it still works for them, and it's still something we do pretty much on an annual basis for them. But anyway, let's check in with them and see how their project's going. Welcome to Thursday. Just got to the office.
and it is a absolutely stunning morning this morning. It's just gorgeous frost, like low mist, lovely beautiful rising sun. It's just a stunning drive coming in this morning. Can't lie, this illness that I speculated on yesterday is certainly here. I've woken up this morning feeling rough as hell. Yeah, not great, especially not great because I had 6 hours or so of meetings booked today. When you've got like a bad cough/throat, the last thing you want to be doing is talking all day. A little bit of positive news, which is usually not positive, is that one of the meetings has been postponed till Monday. Not because of me, because of their availability, but that's fine. That's kind of done me a favor. One of them is a meeting internally here with myself and Darren, prepping for the short film project that we're about to begin soon. But there is one in-person meeting, which is with the client that short film is for. And that's something I'm a little bit worried about. Yeah, I don't want to be grim. Do you know? I've got this initial meeting with Darren this morning, which is to just go over the game plan for the meeting today, because it's kind of like the initial kickoff to clarify the concept and all that stuff, and then we can go like full speed ahead on pre-production. But anyway, getting into today, yeah, as I said, it's a big old day of meetings for me, which is great. It's all new prospects, which is great. From what I've seen just from our initial conversations on email, there is some cool opportunities there for some cool projects. In other news, this week we've also brought in a new project, which is another weird one. So if you might remember from a few weeks back, we did a project where we wrapped a vehicle, which is a project that we just don't take on very often because we don't advertise that kind of service, but ultimately it's something we're capable of doing. I've got an old friend of mine from way back in the day when I used to be a Twitch streamer and be involved in all of that sort of world of video games and all those things. Yeah, he's reached out and they've got a really cool opportunity to work on their website. Again, not a service we offer, but they're a big fan of our website, which obviously we made ourselves, and they've asked for some help to build and design theirs. Again, not something we take on. I'm happy to do it because it's a good friend of ours, and it's in a sector and an area that both myself and Max are actually really passionate about, and we're quite keen to give it a good go, you know? For your reference, it's not like we're just taking on a job for something that we don't have experience in. As you've seen, our website is quite nice, and we built that professionally and custom. But also Max, prior to working at Menace Media, did work in a web agency for 4 years, and his whole career until this time was always around web design. So we definitely have the capacity and capability to take that job on. We're happy to give it a go. Right, it's time to get prepped for these calls, and fingers crossed, there will be good conversations that turn into some awesome projects. It's Friday and I am working from home today as I am absolutely full of this cold. It is utterly grim and I'm gutted that I've got it. I had some cool plans today to do some stuff with the new kit that arrived, but I'm going to save that for next week or maybe this weekend if I'm feeling up to it. But anyway, let's check in with the team, as I know that Sam is currently doing a bunch of work down in the kit room and the rest of the team are cracking on with post-production on projects as well as pre-production for some new projects, and Hannah is also in the office today doing some marketing.
It's all systems go back at the office. Sam is finishing the labelling and stickering down in the kit room. Max is cracking on with edits. Darren is storyboarding a massive project we're about to embark on. Ben is storyboarding some exciting new animation projects. And Hannah is smashing out some social media content for our channels.
It's Sunday and we are in the office catching up on the work that I missed out on Friday because I was unwell. Feeling a bit better now, not 100%, but definitely on the mend and feeling, yeah, at least 80% there, I think. But anyway, the thing that I missed out on doing on Friday that I'm really desperate to do is get these lenses set up. You'll remember from a couple weeks back, I started working on the shimming process. And I was following a guide from the manufacturer, and it turns out that guide is incorrect and yeah, just completely wrong. When you go on the forums online and you look on YouTube videos, there are people everywhere that have got the same lenses, that have got the same problem, that they've done the guide and it's just completely incorrect. You're supposed to put shims behind the lens to distance the back of the lens from the sensor of the camera in order to make sure that the focus is focusing at the right areas, but I followed the guide, put a lens on, and it was just completely out of focus no matter what you do, and it's just so annoying. And it turns out the process is rather long. You kind of have to get a little like laser measurer and get a chart on the wall, which I've got over there, make sure that the camera and sensor are a certain distance, and then you have to align that with the distance that is listed on the side of the lens. And then if it's off by a bit or too much or whatever, you have to adjust the shims. It's just not a great process, to be honest with you. But that's something I wanted to do because we're going to need these lenses soon, and right now they are no use to us, and they need to be sorted. So that is what I'm spending my Sunday doing. All right, we're about an hour in, and I've got one lens done, and I'm so happy that I got it done. Turns out the guide that I'm now following is also pretty damn useless. It just sent me down the wrong road, and in the end it just took a bit of trial and error and guesswork, and I've landed on a success with the first lens, which is the 35mm. 6 more lenses to go. Let's see if I can figure out if there's some sort of formula to this, as that one may have just been a fluke, but I'll take it. I managed to get 4 of the lenses done out of 7. Annoyingly, 3 of the lens mounts that have been supplied don't actually work. I went to mount them into the camera and they literally wouldn't go in, and I've tested them, and then I thought I'll test the rest of the ones that I haven't used yet. And it turns out 3 out of 7 are faulty, so they've got to go back. And I've sent an email to the supplier. Hopefully I'll hear back tomorrow, and then in the week I can get those last 3 lenses done. I found a little bit of a formula in the end, but it is a little bit of just trial and error. There is no consistency across the lenses. It's so weird. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in next week's episode.